YouTube, how's it going? Frogs Angels is back with pre-week 15 power rankings updated every single week. And I say this every week, but I can't stress it enough. This isn't team rankings. End of the year, end of story team rankings based on team skill. It's power rankings, updated weekly, how the teams are right now. Yes, record goes into it. Yes, how the teams have been playing recently, maybe the last week or two goes into it. So I say it every week, but I still get some bashing in the comments. So that's my formula. I'm sticking to it. A lot of changes this week in the top part. Really everywhere. There's still a lot of really bad teams, I think. So some teams that are struggling didn't really move much because there's other really bad teams that are worse. So it's tough, But it's a good day overall. John DeFilippo was just fired. I'm excited. I'm pumped, ready to go. Before we get into it, follow our Twitter, Frogs_Angels. I'll update my playoff seeding predictions, playoff round by round predictions, and Super Bowl predictions on our Twitter. Link in the description for that Twitter as well. I will update that on the Twitter every single Tuesday. Once you're done watching this video, I update it. It's pinned on our Twitter. Talk about live games, college, NFL. A lot of fun there. Also, later today, not only do we have our picks with the boys of Frogs Angels, I'm going to do my final Pro Bowl voting. And I promised that when I did it the first time. It closes in 2 days, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead, do my final Pro Bowl voting later this week. Will be an updated mock draft. I'm already excited about the draft, and we're not even close. I'm getting excited. Quarterback class improving over the last few weeks. Known as weak, getting better. So can't wait for that mock draft. Still got to do that. But let's get into the power rankings here. Bottom 8. The last 3, interchangeable. You can put them any way. Cardinals go to the bottom after their poor performance against the Lions. The Niners beat the Broncos, and the Raiders beat the Steelers. So that's why those two teams are not 32. Jaguars, terrible loss to the Titans. They're 29. The Falcons are maybe the most disappointing team on the year, 28. Bills, they do have some good wins this year, but still sloppy. Lose to the Jets, not good. Jets come out on top, currently on a 1-game winning streak, so they're at 26 there, and the Bengals at 25. Yeah, there's teams ahead of the Bengals that the Bengals are probably better than when it head-to-head, I'd say, but that's not what it's about. The Bengals are on a big losing streak. Yeah, injuries have in coaching have to do with that, but that's what it is. They're on a losing streak. It's unfortunate. They're down at 25. They were way up here earlier in the year too, so that's unfortunate. Next 8, let's break it down. The Lions at 24 coming off a win. Yeah, it was against number 32 Cardinals, but whatever. Panthers, another example. Teams ahead of them, they're better than, but they're on a huge losing streak. Man, if they didn't just go on that losing streak, they could be just sitting pretty at that 6 seed, maybe even the 5 seed. That loss to the Seahawks was big a couple weeks ago. It's unfortunate. Big losing streak forces them down to here. Let's see if they can figure it out. They really need to figure it out. 22, Buccaneers. 21, Redskins. Redskins could maybe win a game or two with Josh Johnson, better than Mark Sanchez. So, still a decent team, but kind of got to wait and see. The Giants move all the way up to 20. They beat the Bears, and they just dominated the Redskins. I know that's not super impressive, but, they're on a streak. They're feeling it. They're moving up. Browns at 19. Browns look pretty solid lately, so they move up there. Packers move up a little bit coming off a win. They looked a lot better without McCarthy, but I think it was more of, they're out to prove something. Fire was lit underneath them, so Packers, could they keep rolling? Big game against the Bears. The Packers aren't out of it yet. Can't believe it. They're not out of it yet. Eagles at 17. Even though they lost, close. They played with the Cowboys pretty well. Offense got to be better earlier in the game, but they played pretty well with a pretty good team in the Cowboys. Next 8 teams. Feel like we're flying through this. Broncos at 16. Yeah, they just lost to the Niners, so they moved down, but still a pretty talented team. They're coming off some big wins before that. I still take that in consideration, but mainly you can't really move them behind teams like the Eagles, Packers, Browns, Giants, So it's more of that, and that's why they're still 16 around this range. But unfortunate loss against the Niners. They just got to get things going. Vikings 15. Pathetic offense performance. They did make a change at their offense coordinator position, which was much needed weeks and weeks ago. They don't move down too much. I wanted to move them down more based off their pathetic offense performance. Defense is great, though, but just like I said with the Broncos, you cannot move the Vikings below some of the other teams behind them. So it's just really the reason that they're all the way up at 15 still, which they did move down, but it's because the lack of other good teams. Somehow they're still in the playoffs as we sit. NFC is also pathetic. But the number one problem with the Vikings was play calling, play decisions, mainly third and short, fourth and short, goal line, red zone. That was the number one problem. Number two is the offensive line, and then number three is Kirk Cousins. But, with better play calling, better decision making, better offensive line, it's a whole different story. So really the only two big problems going forward were the play calling, coaching, and offensive line. I still have trust in Kirk Cousins. He needs to be better. Other players need to be better. Receivers weren't really getting open. Diggs and Thielen at times were actually double teamed. Somebody else should be wide open. Why they're not, I don't know. Kirk had to roll out to the sideline, getting pressured, and the receivers are running away from where he's running, making him throw across his body. He's going to throw it away. Dalvin Cook might be their best player. They have to use him more. Diggs, I really like Diggs. They throw the ball up to him downfield finally, and look what he did. So, they didn't deserve to win that game either, but yeah, there's a big controversy with that crucial call on the blocked field goal. It wouldn't be that big of a problem if they didn't throw the flag originally, but they threw the flag, picked it up. You guys know how much I hate that. Crucial moment. The Vikings did not deserve the game regardless, but officiating is a problem. Said it weeks ago. But I'm glad the Vikings made a move at the offense corner position. They can get into the playoffs. That's about it, though. I don't want to say a miracle, but it'll be a long shot for them to even win one game in the playoffs. That would be the very, 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 very max they can win. Don't think it happens, though. But it's even more pathetic if they don't get in with how bad the NFC is. Don't count out the Panthers. I guess not the Packers either. Steelers at 14. They've been very disappointing, too, on a losing streak, but couldn't move them any lower than the other teams here. Dolphins move all the way up to 13. Big win on the Patriots. Played very good offensively. It took a miracle, but then keep in mind they had 2 blocked punts in that game, so they did a good job executing otherwise in that game and winning the game. They got a big game against the Vikings this week, both fighting for playoff spots. Titans move up to 12. Every time I hype up the Titans, they blow it. So let's see if they do it again. I like the Titans team. I like Mariota, Derrick Henry. They're finally realizing how good he is. Defense is good. What they need to work on is early turnovers offensively. I do like that they correct that. They don't really make mistakes after early in the game. And defensively, open field tackles aren't terrible, but could be fixed. Other than that, I really like this team. It should be around the 12th best team in football. Let's see if they can continue to be like that. They're fortunate with the schedule coming up. Let's see if they choke. 11, the Colts, big win against huge win against the Texans. Still in my head that 0 points against the Jags a week ago. Crazy year because they do that. They beat up the Titans before that. Titans put up 30 points on the Jags. Weird year. So Colts do move up, but that's still stuck in my head. Ravens come off a loss, but if there's ever a good loss, I guess that's one of them because defense played great against the best offense in football, maybe the best offense in football, I should say. Nothing you can really do. It's really hard to match up on Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Really hard to match up. They were able to apply pressure to Mahomes as best they could, hit him. They played good. Keep in mind, Lamar Jackson, he just started a few weeks ago. He played pretty well. It's hard to match up against this offense. I like this Ravens team. So I think they stayed put from where I had them last week. The Texans moved out in the 9. Based off record, people may complain. Maybe they think they should be in the top 8. But they moved down to 9. Other teams playing very good, still in that same range. It was tough. I did not like their game against the Colts. It really wasn't it wasn't a mistake-full, didn't have multiple mistakes to lose in that game. That would almost be better. They kind of just played mediocre. Is that going to show up in the playoffs? What happens if they turn the ball over multiple times and they play like that? A little scary, but it was a division game, tough game. And I had to move them down to 9. You could argue they could be in the 7-8 range, though. Moving on. We're going to reveal some of these. I'm going to talk a lot about some of these teams here. So don't go away. 8, the Seahawks. Big win against the Vikings. It was tough. I was back and forth with the Seahawks 8, Texans 9, because even though the Seahawks had a good win, defense was impressive. But I mean, that offense was really bad. The Seahawks didn't really play overall a good game. It was a sloppy game, so it was tough moving up to 8. But they're streaking, they're feeling it. Russell Wilson's playing. He's been playing pretty well. Not last night's game, but they're coming off a win against what was supposed to be a good team. Are they a good team? That's a different question. So I had to move them ahead of the Texans. Cowboys 7, also streaking. One of the best defenses in football. Yeah, Dak makes mistakes, but then he plays ridiculous at the same time. What I love, Dak throwing the ball 50 times and Zeke touching the ball 40 times. I love that. It's a formula. It's a formula for winning games in the playoffs. If Dak can figure out how to take care of the ball, Cowboys team is scary. Amari Cooper, next level receiver right now. Scary team right here. I had to move him up to 7. Almost wanted to move him up more. It's very tough because record does come into play a little bit with these teams ahead of them. But it's very tough. Patriots at 6, bad loss to the Dolphins, but they did have a good win a week ago. They're still a very good team. It's tough, though, because that was a bad loss to the Dolphins, even though it was on the last play. I'm sure they'll be fine. They're at 6. Bears move up to 5. Big win against the Rams. They're still 2 games behind. I was back and forth. Let me reveal the next 4 before I talk about the Bears. It makes more sense if I do so. Why? Because I have the Rams at 4. I really wanted to move the Bears ahead of the Rams, but 2 games difference does come into play. What else comes into play is that, like I've said for other teams, that loss last week kind of sticks with me. The Giants game. Yeah, they didn't have their starting quarterback, but the difference was Trubisky kind of he threw 3 bad interceptions against the Rams, and the defense came out big and made some big plays. Right now more than ever, I'm realizing the performance from the Bears defense against the Rams. Why? Because Chase Daniel did give away the ball 2 times. They weren't the worst throws. They were very good plays by the Giants defense. And, it's a lot to ask. It is a lot to ask being beyond elite, but the Bears still couldn't, I don't want to say still couldn't stop them because one was a pick 6, but I think you get my point. That loss last week still sticking with me. I don't care who the quarterback was. Trubisky is capable of, turning the ball over as well. But I still move them up to 5. I wanted to move them ahead against the Rams because the Rams played like complete shit. So good job to the Bears. Still move up to 5. That defense is something. If Trubisky can take care of the ball better, then they blow out the Rams, and the team is scary. So they're up to 5. Rams are still at 4. Record a little bit came into play because they are 2-game difference still, but they look terrible. So I really wanted to move the Rams down, but I just couldn't do it. Top 3, I was pretty confident with the Chargers. Yeah, they have one more loss to the Rams, but they're hot right now. Even without Melvin Gordon, they're looking solid. Yeah, they make things close, but they control the game, I like this team. Very complete, balanced team. Maybe the most balanced, complete team in football. Who was it last year? It was the Eagles. And they have pretty good depth, too. So watch out for the Chargers. Number 2 is the Saints. Number 1 is the Chiefs. Even though the Saints won, I had to put the Chiefs at 1. Beat a very good team, the Ravens. It's a tough matchup for the Chiefs as well, even though they're home. I like the way they're playing. The Saints looked a little sloppy, even though they won. It's a good thing. If they're on their game, they're going to blow somebody like that out. They very well could be better than the Chiefs. But what I'm feeling right now is the Chiefs 1, Saints 2. You can't really change that. I mean, you can flip them 1 and 2, but you can't really put one of those at 3 is my point. I'm pretty locked in with the Chargers at 3. Again, I wanted to move the Bears to 4. It's very, very, very close between 4 and 5. And then 6 through 9, very close. I think the Ravens are better than the 10th best team, coming off a loss, though, against my number 1 team, so they couldn't really move down. Colts are very talented, very impressive. Got to stay consistent. Same thing for the Titans. I think they have loads of talent. They got to stay consistent. Dolphins are a scary team. Steelers and the Vikings, same situation here. And it's funny because they both have a tie and it's not against each other. But the Steelers have one more win. Same situation. They should be much better than they are. They got to execute. They got to stay consistent. They got to win these games. We'll see if Big Ben, playing hurt, if that's a thing, if that's a factor. We'll see if the Vikings offense coordinator switch is something different. I don't know if it's going to be that much different because they just promoted their quarterback coach. So will it be that much different? It will be different, but will it be that much different? I think the players play will because just like the Packers, a fire is lit underneath them. You know, they're going to go out and execute. Diggs wasn't happy. You can see Diggs and Cousins were not happy with their offense coordinator. Diggs yelling at the sideline, get him the ball. He's talking to, I think that was 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if anybody else heard it, but late in the game, the Vikings pretty much garbage time. But the Seahawks actually were not in prevent. They wanted the shutout. They ran a play to Thielen, and he ran really far. And the TV mic actually picked up, and it was Cousins' voice. You know, it made it seem like it was Thielen, but it was Cousins' voice. I know his voice. He said, "I've been saying that all effing game." So who's he talking to there? You know, he didn't say it to his face, but he's talking to the offense corner. We have a situation where the guy's not listening to the players. So you expect them to improve, but they got to go out and execute at the end of the day. We will see. Eagles, I mentioned the Packers are still alive. The Panthers still alive. Forgot to mention the Eagles. You can't count them out. Tough schedule. They're still alive. The Redskins are technically still alive. We'll see how that plays out, though. It's going to be a crazy last few weeks. Again, we got our pick'ems later tonight. Best video of the week. One of the best videos of the week. We got 2 live streams now. We live streamed during the Thursday night football game. This week should be a lot of fun. Chargers, Chiefs. Number 1 versus number 3. Going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Friday night live stream's a thing still, too. A lot of exciting stuff going on here at Frogs Angels. Thanks to all you guys. All the sport's been great. We're improving every single day. Again, before the picks video today, we will actually have my updated Pro Bowl voting. So 3 videos today. Updated mock draft later this week. Lots of good stuff. 10K is our subscriber goal. Please help us get there. Please click the like button too. It'll be much, much appreciated. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.